Welcome back to Gut Talk. It is a absolutely beautiful day in Austin, Texas, and I hope it is incredible where you are. Not to brag, it's like 80 degrees here.
Yeah, not to brag at all, but like winter's gone for us. No
No,
more.
like this is why we moved to Austin.
This is why we moved. Right. And we're so excited because our mom, our aunt, and our cousin are all coming down for the weekend to hang out with us. And we're just having a girls' weekend, which will be so fun. We have lots of reservations booked. We are going to walk around town. They live in Cleveland and Columbus. So they actually cannot believe that the time has come in which they get to wear shorts. Like February shorts is unheard of.
I am such a weather girl in the sense of it absolutely dictates my mood. Like if it's cold and whatever, I can get in that mood, but I can't explain to you the difference that I have been feeling the past week when it's been 80 degrees and sunny. Like my 4 miles has gotten done, my grounding with Duke has been getting done. Like I just feel so much more on top of things and attacking things more with this heat in literally the beginning of February.
I hate to break it to you, but it's called seasonal depression. It's not new and it's not special to you. It's literally
No,
everyone.
but I have like, I get obsessed with things. I actually think, not think, I've been diagnosed OCD, and something that I'm obsessed with is the weather. Like, there's just no, and like, I know what OCD is, right? Like, people think it's like, oh, well, she's so organized or whatever. Like, no, I have obsessive thoughts, and I have obsessive thoughts about the weather. That's just
And it's
how it is.
it has always been this way. And it's her checking the weather app 30 times and it's exhausting. In fact, when people check the weather excessively, it triggers me
Well, sorry.
because of you, quite
Okay.
frankly.
Well,
But
now that we
moving
got
on.
that, yeah.
A lot of people have actually said that like February is their January because January was such a brutal month. And
Yeah.
speaking of obsessiveness, one thing that I think is probably relatable to a lot of people is there's been a lot of unfortunate things happening in the world. And I take more of the approach of, unfortunately, the world's a really big place. And I think bad things are kind of always happening. And sure, January was definitely hit with like some back-to-back issues. But I think you struggled a little bit of removing yourself from those issues. And I think part of it's because you work for yourself. And so you kind of have that time, but I do think a lot of people, it really impacted their mental health over the next month. So we're really praying that February is just
Yeah.
smooth.
I think the hardest thing with me is that obviously, like, I am chronically online and I am trying to work on that. But I'm chronically online because I feel like I'm always checking like our Instagram DMs or just social media in general. I mean, all so much of what we do is on social media. And then I, of course, have that aspect of I'm on it for leisure, which I'm on it a lot. And I just think that when something bad or negative happens, which, like, obviously, like Jill said, like our hearts go out to all the different situations happening because truly, like some of the things that's happened in this world, we're not a news station, so I'm not going to mention them, but it's like it truly is tragic. And I'm such an empathetic person. So then I have to go like deep into the stories and like I start getting really upset. But then I see the stories over and over and over again on my feed. I'll go to TikTok and I see it. I see it on X. I see it on like Instagram. Like it feels like you can't escape it. So I'm trying to just get offline. I'm like happiest when I'm on my walks, off of my phone, chatting with friends, just trying to stay a little bit more present and not like find myself too into things that are going on when I can't personally control them.
I think that's really relatable, not to
Yeah.
me, but to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I can understand how that happens. I think I maybe just for whatever reason am a little bit better at disassociating. And obviously my thoughts and prayers always go out to the people affected. It's like a lot of the things that have happened have been so tragic and unfortunate, but I try to, for my own personal sanity, I just try to stay in my own lane a little bit and help where I can. I definitely haven't been able to help financially because your girl was unemployed. However, cross your fingers. I am in the final round of an interview. I'm the only one interviewing, so I'd really have to royally F it up in order to not get it. And I'm so excited to be back as my corporate girly self. I have missed it. I've been unemployed for a month and a half. And let me tell you, it's a roller coaster. If you've ever been unemployed, you would know. I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the people listening. But it some days I've really tried to take advantage of just relaxing because I don't do that very often. I sleep in, which I don't do. And then other days I feel like I'm going insane with no type of structure. luckily, because I coach softball and I have gut talk, I do feel like I definitely have things to do day to day. But I am so excited. And I think Jen and I were talking about our content because we're always just trying to get better. And I feel like the content we're posting right now is not it's not serving us, but it's not doing it for us. Like we just don't love and feel super connected to like what we're posting these days. And so we want to talk a little bit more about ourselves, I guess. And one thing I can't wait to do is like show like what I'm doing as a corporate girly that refuses to sacrifice her health in order to be good at her job. And I'll talk more about my role, I think, once I get it. I'm a little superstitious. If you've ever watched The Office, you're like, I'm a little stitious. And so I don't want to jinx it. So that's all I'll say on that.
Understood.
Yeah, that's
Understood.
all I'll say on that for now. But, at the beginning of the year, we talked a lot about personally, like between you and I, we talked a lot about like our health goals. And I think the hardest part about this podcast is you and I talk so much to each other that when we actually want to talk about topics, it almost feels like you and I are like overdoing it because we've already had these discussions. But
Yeah,
I'm
but we're talking
hoping,
to our girls. Like this
right.
is not about you and I talking to each other.
Right, which is what I'm trying to get to, which is that we're going to basically have the conversations we've already had in private because we do feel that it's really important. And one thing Jenna and I have discussed a lot about is fitness and getting back into a little bit more of our health routines. And I think, Jenna, to kind of kick it off, you have noticeably lost weight. Like I think I'm around you a lot and people are saying, "Oh, Jenna, like you look different," or "Jenna, have you been in the gym?" or
No, Jenna, you
right?
look taller. That's what I keep getting.
Taller?
Taller.
Well, that's a different thing because we're almost positive you
Yeah, I
grew.
did actually grow.
Right.
Which is insane.
But even like my boyfriend last night was over and was like, "Jenna, have you been like hitting the gym?" And like one thing I do want to say is Jenna was born with sculpted arms. Like, when you go to Pilates 100 times because you want those perfectly sculpted arms that are like delicate and skinny but sculpted. Jenna was born that way. And I just want
Yeah.
to somebody who has a background in genetics needs to explain to me how Jenna got that and I didn't.
No, like I have to pull up the picture. I'll post it on our stories in the next couple days, like right after this episode is released. And there's a picture of me like sitting on a stoop, like a front door stoop. And you can just see that my sculpted by the gods arms are just, and I'm like 8 years old in this like picture. Do you know what
So,
picture I'm talking about?
no, I have no
I think it's,
idea.
it's at Uncle Dan's house in South Carolina. Like I
Oh,
just can
really?
picture it. Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen that, but I do remember you playing soccer as like a middle schooler and watching you run and being like, it looks like she is doing push-ups in her free time.
Yeah. Like gazelle status. Thank you.
Right. But recently, and I would say recent as far as the past 3 to 6 months, you have drastically changed the way that you look. In my opinion, and seems to be other opinions, and I think your own opinion too. And so I want to get into that with you on one, what you've been doing, two, what our health goals are for the year, more on the fitness side. But then also three, I want to talk a little bit more about like the mental side of fitness and just some thoughts. And then we'll end with like a few supplements and things that we think are like aiding our health journeys or our fitness journeys. And so, yeah, let's start off with like your experience over the last 6 months and maybe like losing weight or whatever you want to call it.
I
Because you
think if
don't weigh
we,
yourself, right?
no, I think if we, no, I don't even own a scale, but I feel like if we need to talk about the 6 months, we need to just like go back real quick. I always played soccer. So, like Jill said, I've always been fit, like literally, like since birth and since I started soccer at age 4. And then I went to college and I obviously gained the freshman 15/20, like truly body completely transformed. I went from playing soccer every single day of my life to not playing soccer. I didn't play soccer in college to becoming like a sorority girl who drank and ate all the time. And college, like, I can just consider myself not like wildly overweight or anything, just really puffy. Like I just was always kind of puffy. I'm a college kid. I was living my life, whatever. Post college, when my gut issues and everything started to get really worse, I had kind of one of these like transformations where I went very deep the other end, and I ended up getting really fit and really sculpted, if you will, because I was eating minimal foods. Like I just wasn't enjoying my
And
life.
when was that? Like what
That
year
was
would you say?
2019, 2020.
Okay.
And then I actually wasn't really putting in sustainable habits and creating a long-term solution for myself. I was just essentially under consuming calories and also so strict on my digestive health protocol that I just went the opposite end. Like I just became pretty much orthorexic, which means you're very obsessed about what you put into your body, what you eat, etc. And then when we moved to Austin, it was almost like I retaliated against myself. And that because I didn't like, establish really amazing habits at that point, I actually went down the other end and then ended up gaining around 20 pounds when we found the world of going out again. And, COVID was over. We were drinking a lot and everything. And I mean, I posted a couple transformation things. Like I was really puffy. I was 20 pounds heavier than I am now, maybe even a little bit more. And you know what? I was in an environment that I didn't like. I was pretty depressed after our move to Austin. We didn't have a lot of friends. Like I just really lost myself, which brings me to then as I've kind of just gone on, I've really found the things that work for me. Fitness has always been a part of my life. It's not been my life, but like I had a trainer and I was basically over exercising or like weightlifting so much because I thought that that was going to be the thing that like truly helped me lose all this weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize is that I had to really, really hone in on my lifestyle and my diet. And what I say by that is, I genuinely believe when you get happier, when you find the right people in your life, when you get out of situations you're not supposed to be in, things change for you physically. Like I am an absolute testament of it. And I see so many people change when they are happier. Like that literally is one of the things. The other thing is, finding the right diet for me. I went from very much restriction to the opposite end to now having this really amazing balance in my life. And we can talk about that on another episode or whatever. But I eat a lot, I eat really well. I also allow myself to have fun. We go out to restaurants. Jill's boyfriend just turned 31. I ate 2 cupcakes because I can, because I allow myself to. And that to me is what I think works best for me.
And I think not to get into nutrition, but eating a lot is super key. You're not starving and you're not constantly snacking because you're filling your body.
Hmm.
Two is you're really prioritizing protein, which we
Hmm.
know is so important.
But not to the extreme. Like I'm not doing 170 grams a day type of thing.
No, no, you're just doing what's good for your body, but then
Hmm.
also too, and I think just to kind of reiterate, you're having a sweet treat when you want one.
Hmm.
You're not having 8 sweet treats.
Right. Because the restriction for me, and I hope
Mm,
this is relatable, but for me, the restriction led to binging
mm,
because I deprived, and then I just went ham.
right.
And that to me was the hardest thing. Now I allow myself to literally eat anything I want. But what do? I go back time and time again every week to the grocery store and I just fuel up on really high quality foods. And if I
Right.
want to go grab a cookie somewhere, I do it. Like that is what has worked for me in the past 6, 7, 8 months.
Yeah, I think that's great.
The other thing I will add too is that I was pushing my body in a time where my body did not need to be pushed. When I had very high stress levels, I hate to say it, but like I definitely did have imbalanced cortisol levels. You can see it on my Dutch test. My hormones weren't amazing. My digestion, frankly, sucked too. And I thought that over exercising was going to be the way that I lost weight. And if anything,
Mm,
it just taxed my body even more. So, what I
mm,
had to do was I had to hone in more on my digestion and my metabolic health and my happiness and like walking outside. That's why I took literally a year off of the gym to just walk. And I know that might sound crazy, but it is truly the thing that saved me. And one, my relationship with exercise and being healthy. And two, my body was so thankful and grateful for me for not pushing it over the edge.
mhm.
And really, that's what happened to me. And now I feel well prepared to start weightlifting again.
I'd also like to say you're not like strolling. You're walking at an annoyingly fast
No, like
pace.
I'm beating every single person in front of me and I'm like thinking it in my head.
If you go for a walk with Jenna, it is not enjoyable, it is not relaxing, it is not leisurely. If in fact the way Jenna walks stresses me out.
Yeah.
Like, you know how Jenna says like the past year was great because it was like walking like gave you peace. Walking with you brings me
It's exercise. It
frustration.
is exercise.
Yeah, I like to exercise in different ways, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Anyway.
But I'm very glad that that worked for you. And I think one thing that you and I have talked about a lot is the fact of we've always gotten to this point of fitness, one way or another, maybe not in healthy ways, but the way you look right now and the way I look right now. And when I say look, I mean like the way our clothes fit, the way we look,
Mhm.
the way we feel, whatever. We've always gotten to this point, but we can never get past this point. And I think it's for a few reasons. One is I think the ways that we were doing it weren't sustainable. Like
Yep.
similar to you during COVID, I was working a ton. I was stressed out by the state of the world. I was slightly unhappy and I ate like a broccoli style breakfast bowl with no protein for breakfast. For lunch, I had a protein smoothie. And then for dinner, I had like rice noodles with some chicken. I mean, I was probably consuming 50 grams of protein a day. And because of that, I'm 5'7". I grew like I've never had a dainty day in my life. When I weighed myself during COVID, I was 154. When I got on the scale, now granted, the other day I was at the gynecologist and they weighed me with my shoes on, my jacket on, my jeans on, but I was 170. So I would imagine I'm like 165 right now. So I am 10 pounds heavier, but I am way healthier. I have muscle on my body. I don't have brain fog, which I had all the time because I wasn't consuming enough calories. I am a sustainable, healthy version, but I would like to be stronger. I would like to be a little bit more defined and toned than I am right now. I'm content, but we have this thing where like we've gotten to this level of fitness a few times in our lives and then we self-sabotage in
Mhm.
our own ways.
Mhm.
Binging for you, for me, just like not being able to carry out sustainable health practices. And so we've kind of said, okay, 2025 is the year that we exceed our expectations and we like finally hit this new level of fitness and health and overall wellness.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about what our plan is, what we're doing. And the one thing, I guess I can talk about this later, but the one thing I'm not sure about is like, I don't have a goal in mind. And I think that that can be harmful to not have something that you're working toward. But let's start with why we're weightlifting. And we're weightlifting for a lot of reasons. But why don't you start off, Jenny?
Quite honestly, when I went down and lost my weight and again, like we're talking about losing weight, not in the sense of Jill and I are trying, like, I think you've emphasized it, Jill, but I'm going to overemphasize it. I like think that my skinniest version of myself is the least healthiest version of myself.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I genuinely mean when I'm at my skinniest, I actually do not feel the best in multiple facets, in strength, in energy, in digestion. When I'm at my skinniest, I'm at my most constipated. And so I think we just need to like recognize that. Like Jill and I are not trying to achieve this skinny version. We are trying to be strong. And my biggest goal right now is putting on muscle. And that literally is my biggest goal. And why you may ask is because I think muscle building is so critical for so many aspects of health, longevity, for insulin resistance or insulin sensitivities to like really allow your body to be more insulin resistant and also like keeping your blood sugar levels at bay essentially and also to allow yourself to like support your overall like strength and stamina and health and vitality. Obviously, we're only in our 20s and Jill's 30. Like we don't have to necessarily worry about like bone loss yet, but this is all the sustainable goal. Like I always want to be strong now. Like moving forward since I've stepped into the gym 4 weeks ago, strong is just like completely on my mind. Not skinny, not anything else, just like simply trying to get stronger. And it's a really good feeling. Strength, muscle building is also strength training. It's amazing for your mental health. And we
Mhm.
all know if you listen to this episode, or if you listen to our podcast for a long time, like I have struggled with mental health issues for a very long time. And I find I have been so much happier, truly, like implementing this resistance training, the strength training into my life more. What about you, Jilly?
I think I've had this acceptance of I am never going to be skinny.
Yeah.
And the way I define skinny is no muscle, just bones, right? Like thin. I will not be that way because that's not how I'm built. I was a catcher for 10 years. I will always have a butt. I will always have thighs. And to not play into that and try to change my body not only is a disservice to me, but I think right now, and I know you've heard me say this so many times, but and our podcast listeners might have too, but I think it's such an important message that I'm going to repeat it again. We live in a world today where we nobody is embracing what they actually look like.
Hmm.
We're getting lip filler, we're getting Botox, we're getting fake boobs, we're getting surgeries that take away our eyebrows, skin. We're doing surgeries and protocols that I didn't even know existed. And this is no shame to plastic surgery. If you have something that bothers you on a day-to-day basis and you want to change it, that is your body and your choice. I am not judging you. But I think in general, our society has completely ditched embracing what we actually look like, and we're all trying to go for the same image. And I think it's really harmful. And I think about one day, if I am so lucky enough to raise daughters, how sad it will be to try to watch them conform and change what they look like instead of embracing what they look like already. And I heard someone say this, I don't remember, it was probably TikTok that I saw it, but it was like when you have something that you don't love about yourself. Like for me, I have really large ears. I've always been made fun of
Hmm.
for them. I was called Dumbo in high school and middle school, and we've always joked about it. But Papa Rudy has massive ears.
Papa.
Papa Rudy and Dad have the largest ears to head ratio I've ever seen. And
Oh,
that's where my big ears come from. And I think
right.
like I've tried to lean into it now. If you don't like your dad or your grandpa, I think that it probably makes it a little bit harder. But, it's like when I smile and my gums show, that's mom's laugh. And
Hmm.
so I try to think about those things. And why I say that is because I'm going to lift because being strong, I think, is such an important thing for women to feel. But more than that, for my body type, it's really the only option to try to be skinny and follow like such a strict calorie diet and walk and go to yoga twice a week. It's like fighting what I already have.
Yeah. No, and I
And
love that.
right. And so, like, why
Yeah.
not just embrace the body that I have and
Hmm.
lift? And believe me, like, I want all my clothes to fit. I'm not trying to bulk, which I'll bring that up later. It is really, really hard to bulk. You have to be in a super caloric overload and
Surplus. Yeah.
surplus, thank you. And you have to do a lot of other things in order to get to that point. But I just am like, and you hear me talk about it all the time. I'm so exhausted by everyone doing so much to keep up with the times.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're two testaments of people who tried to keep up with the times, and it just pushed us kind of further away from who we are and what we actually want in this life. And obviously, there's a large, especially now with social media, emphasis on aesthetic and appearance. But what if we changed our mindset to think strong and healthy and, like, I don't know, mentally clear and all of those things that have really nothing to do with complete and utter physique. Like, obviously, looking strong has to do with your physique, but I know so many women, I've worked with so many women who have really over worked and exerted and underate and really just didn't listen to what their body actually needs. And you end up wrecking your metabolism. You end up wrecking your digestion.
Yeah.
And you actually go so far away from health. And like I said, so many people's, like I've said this for myself, but it's the truth. Like so many people's skinniest is really actually not their healthiest.
Yeah. And
And
and this is also to say, like, if you're naturally skinny,
yeah,
you go, girl. This is not an attack on skinny people. It's really saying that the society deemed one sort of body
yes,
attractive, and then we've all been trying to get there when there are like trying to lose weight and trying to be really skinny is the equivalent of the really skinny girl trying to put on 30 pounds because people are always telling her to eat a hamburger. Like
yeah,
she is eating hamburgers, she's just skinny. And so
yeah,
it's like I'm not saying everyone should be trying to look to a certain aesthetic. It's more of like embracing like the God-given body that you were given and it's no matter what you say, it can be spun, but I think everyone can hear the way that we are genuinely trying to just fight for women to embrace and love who they are. I was thinking about it the other day and I'm like, okay, boobs are in right now, so boob job. And then you have nose jobs, and then you have fake eyelashes, and then you have Botox, and then you have filler, and then you have hair extensions, which thank God we're blessed with an abundance of hair.
mm-hmm,
Those things are thousands of dollars.
yeah,
So then it's like you're spending your paycheck on things that like shouldn't matter as much. And I actually was thinking about this other day. Kylie Kelsey is obviously so popular right now, and as she should be. Like, I think that she's an excellent role model for women because when you look at her, she barely wears makeup. She is naturally beautiful, but I think part of the reason that she is naturally beautiful is because she shows up every day like, this is me, take it or leave it. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't ever look a mess, but she doesn't look like a supermodel either. Like, she doesn't look like Gigi Hadid. She just looks like a girl from Philadelphia. And that's amazing. Like,
yeah,
I think that that's great. But I think part of the attractiveness or the beauty in her is she carries herself with confidence. I'm sure she struggles on some things because we all do, but you can tell like she walks into a room being like, "Yep, this is me.
yeah,
I am me." And I think that that is like the type of woman that we should be looking up to because I think that that's what helps us accept and go against what society's like currently going after.
yeah. Shall we explain how we're moving forward with our new goals, what we're doing to make this next era of our lives more sustainable?
Yeah. So I think for me personally, I have to figure out a goal because I don't think that I want to go to the gym 4 to 5 days a week. I want to get in, whether it's a Pilates or a yoga class in, just as something different. I want to be walking, but I know that when you have like very vague goals, I think your results are very vague too. And I want really great results. So I need to really figure out some goals. You said it yesterday, but I've been thinking about getting a DEXA scan just because weight's really hard for me. I also too, like I have really big boobs. Those suckers gotta weigh something. Like
Yeah,
what's my boobless weight? That's what I want to know.
right. Literally,
But
without the knockers.
I think a DEXA scan would be really cool because then I can track how much muscle I'm building.
Yeah. Well, I think the goal situation is a very much former college athlete in you. Like, I
No,
don't,
no, no, no. I don't agree at all. If you want to do anything in life well, you have to set a goal. So maybe the goal is go to the gym 4 days a week,
yeah,
every single week. Or maybe the goal is I want to be able to do 5 pull-ups on my own. I want to be able to do 20 push-ups. You can do goals like that. But you cannot say that you want something and not set a goal. Like scientifically speaking, in order to hit a result, you have to set a goal.
yeah. But I think, like, for me, my goal is literally consistency. And
But
as
that's your
I'm,
goal.
yeah.
So for you, you accomplish week to week your strength goal by going to the gym and
And I'm trying to build an ass. We all know that.
okay, but like I could argue that building an ass isn't really a good enough goal because when will you be satisfied?
When it looks plump.
But I mean, listen, do your thing,
I
but
think
that's
my
so subjective.
the point of me saying this is that ultimately my goal right now moving forward, why I joined a gym, which girls, if you're holding off on joining a gym because you don't want to pay for it or you're scared or it's intimidating, take it from me. Find the way in your budget that you can make it work because joining the gym has been the reason why I have been going 4 to 5 times a week. Like it has been the reason. If I did not have a gym to go to, I probably would have been going to it maybe 2 times because that's what I was doing.
So, question. So, what is your fitness wellness goals then?
Quite honestly, I am just trying to sustain. Yes, I said I want to build muscle and I want to
What does
feel
sustain
good.
mean?
I want to just genuinely like feel good in my body and maintain a consistent routine. And I think for me, that is showing up 4, maybe 5 times a week to the gym, doing
Mm.
arms, doing legs, doing a booty work, honing in on my nutrition with flexibility, obviously. With that, obviously paired with walking, because you guys know I love to walk too. But that to me is like what I'm focused on right now. I'm not focused on dropping 5 pounds, although, like, obviously, you have to put on a little bit of pounds in order to gain muscle. I just want to keep showing up for myself and continuing to feel strong and to feel good in my body. And that is literally why I'm going. And also, like I said, getting my ass a little bit more plump because 4 weeks ago, we started with a line from my legs to my what?
Your calves to your lower back.
My calves to the lower back.
There's a straight line.
That's Jill. Thanks
No,
to
no, no,
Jill.
no, no. That's you. I said it.
Thanks to
It's
Jill.
your straight
I haven't
line.
stopped thinking about it since. Tell me that's not the most sister thing.
Well, I mean, again, you can have whatever body you want. You just were trying to say that you had an ass, and I was like, we just
No, she
need
was
to
missing
be
in action.
we
MIA.
need to be real for a second and just say that there's a board on
There
your
was a board.
backside.
It's
Yeah.
okay though.
No, that's totally
The board
fine.
girls unite. We can all build asses. Okay,
Yeah.
and then yours is you're trying to find the goal, but right now, like
I
you're
think
really
I'm
good
gonna
at
do it.
showing up to the gym because you just like that. Like I feel like exercise for you just makes you feel good.
Yeah, and I don't really have an issue with consistency, especially
Yeah,
when I have a job. Like I just wake up at 6 a.m. every morning, I go to the gym and I leave.
yeah,
But I think I don't know where to get a DEXA scan. Do they have them at our gym?
yeah,
Okay, then I think I'll do that because I feel like getting my muscle mass tested will be a really good way for me to do that in like a non-weighing route. Also, too, I think, I'm running this half marathon in what, nine
1 week.
days?
Yeah,
And I will be so glad when that's over. Am I fully prepared? No. Will I survive? Hopefully. The hardest part about the half marathon is that you start uphill. So if you're
yeah,
familiar with Austin, Texas, you start on South Congress and the first 2.5 miles is just straight uphill. Terrible way to start 13.1 miles.
yeah.
But once that's done, then I can't decide. I'll either run like 4 miles twice a week or I'll just never run again. It'll probably be the second option of like never running again. I just don't enjoy it. It takes up so much time. I'm good on that, but you never know. So for me, my goals are going to have to wait just a week and a half because right now I'm literally just trying to do anything that's going to, like, I'm not lifting heavy on my lower body because I just want my legs to feel good for my run. So I still have, I didn't do it right at all. I need to run 10 miles in the next few days just to like make sure my body's like working to that speed. And then if I can run 10, I can for sure run 13. It's just mental
That's
at
what
that
Jill
point.
keeps saying, but
No, it's just mental. Like, what's 3 more miles, truly?
hard on your legs.
No, I'll be fine.
Okay.
I just need a good podcast. Hopefully, a good podcast comes out next week.
Yeah, that would be nice. Okay, so obviously, like, this is more of like a conversation and us just kind of opening our new journeys and what we've been through before to you guys. Jill wanted to talk quickly about supplements, but if you guys are interested in hearing more specific things, let us know because I plan on sharing more, and I think Jill does too on Instagram and TikTok, more about like how we're staying consistent, how we're making it sustainable, how we're fueling our bodies, what supplements we're taking, because we don't put any junky supplements in our body because fit doesn't equal healthy. And that I think is going to be helpful because you'll be able to see like how our bodies kind of get stronger and transform, but also doing it in a way that that we're not like killing ourselves over it or we're not under eating because we're like trying to maintain this really tiny physique. Like, frankly, I want you to look at me and be like, that girl is freaking sculpted by the gods. And why? Because I fuel myself to the best of my ability and I'm keeping my metabolic health in mind.
Sculpted
So,
by the gods.
sculpted by the gods. That's my goal. I want you guys to look at me and say her ass is fat and she's sculpted by the gods.
I know that there are going to be people listening that are more like me, that are like Jenna, sculpted by the gods is just such a not a measurable goal.
Well, whatever.
Goals have to be
That's
smart,
a
remember?
personality thing. Anyway, lastly, supplements that Jill feel like have been benefiting you in the gym.
Yeah, I mean, one we always talk about is electrolytes,
Yeah.
and we obviously are partners with Element, so sue us. I enjoy them. I enjoy the flavor. Grapefruit and orange, I think, are my two that I'm like really on right now. That's only because I had raspberry probably 500 times and I
Yeah.
just outdid it a
I
little
like
bit.
citrus too.
Citrus, yeah. And then the other two that I'm on right now are essential amino acids. And we have a whole episode with the founder of Kion. If you're interested in actually learning, he really breaks it down in a way that's interesting and easy to understand. But amino acids are just basically the building blocks of proteins. And so it helps you with muscle growth, it helps you with recovery. I find a huge difference when I'm drinking them. I try to drink them 2 times a day. I know he says you can drink them, I think up to 3 or 4 times, but like that, I just don't do that. And I know that there's a lot of other benefits as well. So again, go to our episode with Keon. And then I also am taking creatine every day. Remember, it is creatine was originally had the rep of like bulking. I promise you, it is so hard to bulk. I was so fearful of that for years, but it increases your muscle strength. It helps you grow your muscles. It does not mean like volume. It takes a lot more to get the volume. Kind of in a similar realm of the essential amino acids, they do similar things. But another a great part about creatine that's not talked about enough is it's really supportive of brain and cognitive function, brain health and cognitive function. So that's something like memory, focus, clarity, all of those things are really great when it comes to creatine. So that's why I always think about it as like I'm helping my muscles, but I'm also helping my brain. And that's it for now. If I find something else that I really believe is helpful, then I'll add it in. But I have 100% noticed a difference in my recovery when I'm consistent with my essential amino acids and my creatine. So coming to my half marathon, but then also um, just in general, like I want to make sure that my body is getting as much support as necessary. So
Yeah, and what I've noticed with myself too, and I do the same things. I haven't been on creatine as much, so I'm interested to try that out. We use the one by ProMix. We'll link all three of those for you guys in the show notes. But the last thing that I was gonna say is that comparatively speaking to when I was walking so much to now building more muscle and like getting in the gym and staying consistent, my appetite is so much bigger. So making sure that we're fueling with enough protein and carbohydrates to like make up for that. It's just been so interesting for me because I'm like, whoa, like I've been eating so much more than I was the past, like, I don't know, 8 months to a year. And so that's been an interesting change and it's just requiring me to prep more, to buy a little bit more at the grocery store and to obviously consume more and also listen to my body. Like, if I want an extra snack during the day, I'm gonna have one because I know that's my body like needing that help recovering and building, fueling my muscles, and fueling my workouts, frankly, to set me up for success.
incredible.
Yeah. Well,
We have 8, maybe 9 guests
yeah.
confirmed
Hmm.
for the next 2 or 3 months. So we're not going to have many solo episodes coming up, but we have some really incredible guests. We're going to be talking gut health. We're going to be talking nutrition. We're going to be talking BV, yeast infections,
Preconception health,
preconception health.
how to nourish your kids.
There are so many
Your kids,
incredible.
we do have moms.
Well, no, but I think it's still going to be a really great conversation. A lot of really smart people, and remember, like the goal of why we started Gut Talk in the first place is because we want a place where you can learn, but in a really digestible way, like a 101 kindergarten type level course. I was actually listening to Dr. Tina, who we love this morning. She had a professor from BYU on talking about metabolic health, and I was like, oh, this is so exciting. I retained nothing from that episode. It
Mm,
was so over my head and it was so confusing to me. And so I want our podcast to be a place where even if you're not good at science, even if you're not super well studied in nutrition and health and whatever, you can get a lot of takeaways. So
yep.
we're really excited for those episodes coming up.
Thank you guys so much for joining. We love you so much. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.